I'll just talk loud. Bernard Ellis, CEO of GEMtouch.
Hi, everyone. 4 minutes to go by fast, I think, but happy HITEC to you all. Let me be the first to wish you that. If no one has yet, I hear it's becoming a very popular expression around here. So I'm with GEMtouch, and the problem we solve is very apparent to anyone who's tried to call a resort and book the activities for their whole family, maybe in one call, or for 5 or 6 of their friends to go at the same time. You see that the problem we solve is it's too difficult to book on-property hotel activities. It's just for guests who are calling or clicking, for the concierges who are trying to help them in person or at the front desk, and quite frankly, all the apps who are trying to hook in and hook into this inventory and provide experiences as well. It's not working out for them. Why is this? Well, it's because there's a long history of lots of fragmented apps that are meant to be very design-driven for a particular activity type. They tend to be on-property, on-prem, client-server. So this means that they're not well integrated with each other or the room booking typically. And they're certainly not designed for self-service on the web. That's something that has to be retrofitted at best. And they're not all-encompassing. So the other pieces that are missing are rudimentary pricing capabilities and inadequate historical data that makes revenue management really difficult to accomplish. Why is this especially important now to get this fixed? Millennials are pushing and driving an experience economy that is pushing demand for activities through the roof. And their needs for this are they expect to be able to book their activities online to enhance their travel. And their needs are being met today, but not typically by the hotels, but by who? The usual culprits. Airbnb and Expedia, local expert, are way ahead of us and providing this experience for millennials and letting them really drive, and they're taking ownership of the guest relationship even more and more. And there's also pressure from within for a lot of you because internally, RevPAR growth is slowing. It seems to be that way for the foreseeable future. So we have to focus on where to find that profit from elsewhere. And where are people looking? Guess what? Meanwhile, we've been looking at spa, and spa operators are actually getting more and more profitable with the way they're operating. That's becoming the darling of the balance sheet more and more, as are other activities. So there's a lot of pressure from outside and within to fix this. So GEMtouch does fix this. We are an enterprise SaaS solution, and we're built really as a set of building blocks to build the inventory and other resources that you need to sell something. And to make a comprehensive inventory, but not only of your on-property activities, but also bring in activities from outside systems. By breaking down things into their component parts and rationalizing this, we become a central clearinghouse for activity merchandising, as it were. We do consider integration a core competence, not something we're afraid of or see as a necessary evil. But the idea behind all of this is to allow you to achieve the things that activities should be able to achieve for you. Get that higher guest wallet share of on-property and off-property activities. Maybe distribute your activities to third-party distribution as well on property, bring theirs inbound, with the lower total cost of ownership and better guest engagement. But I think that the biggest thing to talk about is our industry awareness, both with the pricing that is meant to not be alienating in any way. We know what prices fly with this industry and what don't. And our team in general. We have a lot of, Brian has been at this in this industry for, this is now his 5th go around with activity management. He has a clue at this point, so with the space. I've done a lot of startups before, as you can see, and been around with the different kinds of systems. So knowing what you're talking to on the other side of the wire is very important, but even more important is our board of advisors. Dave Burkus, for instance, Doug Rice, 2 Hall of Famers, all people who know how to make things work with that reputation, as well as Carol, of course, who has championed us through a pilot at Chatham Bars, which has been extremely beneficial to all of us in getting this going. And I'm sure I've forgotten 3 or 4 or 5 things that I didn't bring up in my time, but I'm about to run out of it. So with that, I will just conclude and say that we're here to be enablers, not necessarily disruptors, but enablers, and to be good partners.
Thank you. Right on time. Judges, questions, please.
You're selling software.
Yes.
And who goes out and, like, the external activity guys, right? The hang glider and the rafter and all that. Who signs them up on your system?
There is an ecosystem of hundreds of those providers. About 4 or 5 of them are emerging. But going after the one-by-one tour operators locally is not something that we would do, actually, but we would want to connect to those who are doing that. People like Fairlogic, for instance, and others who Viator really is the one that's emerging, owned by TripAdvisor, is the biggest merchandiser. So they too are learning to partner with everyone. They want to be partners with us, actually, so far. They're having a hard time hooking into the hotel activity piece.
Well, that was my other question. Aren't those people in competition with you? They get a commission for selling
They do, but they need inventory as well, so it's a good, it looks like it'll be a good partnership, yin-yang.
So is this something that the guest does, or do it through reservations? I'm not clear on how the process works.
Yes, it's omni-channel, so we provide a facade for the hotel's website, provide bookability to guests directly, but also a call center facade. So if you're the person who wants to, what's available for my husband while my husband's golfing and I'm playing tennis, where's that scenario available for a call center? You can do that. And then at the point of service, we allow obviously the booking as well as the check-in, check-out, the cashiering, as well as full retail POS in that environment, and gift card handling.
Bernard, how far are you in the development of the whole product and the rollout?
We just crossed a full year pilot, so we had an extensive, that's probably the big thing to bring up, is we had a very extensive stealth development process, and our pilot's been pretty extensive as well. We now finished the year by now having a validated Oracle integration, so it's nice to have validation, which happened as of Saturday, but it's been live with chat and bars for 3 or 4 activities for a year, and they've just expanded resort-wide to include pretty much everything. So spa, their Lexus resort rentals, their signature boat experiences, kids camps, in-room amenities, you name it, they now are using GEMtouch for it. So it's proven, and I think the accounting and the integration issues were probably the biggest hallelujahs that we've have earned, because that's, I think, the biggest headache that something like this brings at first.
So walk me through, real quick, how a guest would book a room in a spa treatment, for example.
Today, they would book a room probably when calling a call center. Is that the scenario you'd like to follow? So calling your reservations office today, what would usually happen is they would book the room and see if the room's available, book that, and say, okay, well, how about my activities? They would either be handed off, transferred to another department for that, or maybe one by one, best case one by one, going through different kinds of activities and a laborious process with different systems for the ones who really haven't done as much as that. But that's the thing, it's a very headachy process. To do it online, we don't know of any consolidated booking engine that can do it all at once besides OTAs. So we would provide the API, and we'll provide the booking engine with our PMS partners if we need to be the ones to just attack that and give an experience where you can book everything all at once. So we do have the APIs to do that today, actually.
Any other questions from the judges? Okay, thank you very much, Bernard. Appreciate it.